What if Darth Vader never truly existed? Anakin Skywalker is dead. He dies on Mustafar, burned alive by rivers of fire. His body lies broken on the blackened shore, smoke rising from flesh that can no longer feel pain. The Force itself grows quiet around him. No rage, no hope, no light, only silence. Across the galaxy, however, something else is born. Darth Vader, he hunts Jedi. He crushes rebellions. He becomes the Empire's living nightmare. But how can this be? How can Vader exist when Anakin is gone? Because Vader is not a man, he is a symbol. A lie crafted by an emperor who refused to let fear die. On Mustafar, Palpatine kneels beside Anakin's corpse. The Chosen One, the future ruler of the galaxy, reduced to ash and ruin. The Emperor reaches into the dark side, pouring raw power into the broken body, commanding life itself to obey him. For a moment, Anakin's eyes flutter open. Master, I failed you. Palpatine leans closer. No, my apprentice.
You will.
Rise again. But even the Sith cannot rewrite death. Anakin's chest falls still. His presence in the Force vanishes like a candle snuffed out by the void. The boy from Tatooine is gone forever. Palpatine does not scream. Smiles cold, calculated, patient. If the man is dead, then the legend will replace him. He orders medical droids to collect the body. Anakin Skywalker is sealed away, hidden from history. Galaxy will believe he died during Order 66. But Vader? Vader will be immortal. Back on Coruscant, the Emperor gathers his most loyal scientists. He unveils designs for black armor. A faceless helmet, artificial lungs, a voice built to echo like a tomb closing. One scientist hesitates. My lord, who will wear it? Palpatine's yellow eyes narrow. That is not your concern. While the suit is forged, Imperial hunters scour the outer rim. They find their candidate on Dishomer, Malicos, a fallen Jedi, broken, angry, alone, perfect. He is dragged in chains before the Emperor. Palpatine gestures toward the empty armor. You will become my weapon. Malicos spits blood onto the floor. I would rather die. Palpatine steps closer. You will. The transformation is torture. Metal replaces flesh. Machines replace lungs. His voice is torn apart and rebuilt into something monstrous. But the worst pain is not physical. Palpatine breaks his mind. Memories shatter. His name fades. His past dissolves. Every thought is drowned beneath one word. Vader, when it ends, Malicos no longer remembers who he was. He rises slowly from the operating table, wrapped in black armor that feels like both a throne and a coffin. His breathing echoes through the chamber. Mechanical, unnatural, terrifying, pactifying. Kina circles him like a sculptor, admiring his masterpiece. Lord Vader, your purpose is simple. Hunt the Jedi. Leave only fear behind. The voice that answers is hollow and perfect. Yes, my master. And so, the legend is born. Vader becomes the Empire's shadow. He wipes out hidden temples, breaks resistant cells, turns entire star systems silent with terror. His name spreads faster than light, whispered in cantinas and refugee camps like a curse. Far away on Tatooine, Obi-Wan Kenobi feels it. He sits outside his small hut, holding Luke beneath twin suns. Reports reach even this forgotten world. Black-armored enforcer, mechanical breathing, a red blade. Obi-Wan reaches into the Force. What he finds is not Anakin. It is empty, a presence shaped like him but hollow inside, like a shadow wearing someone else's outline. His heart tightens. Whatever Vader is not his friend, and so he stays hidden, protecting Luke, waiting, hoping the darkness will not find them. Years pass, the first Vader begins to crack. The suit keeps him alive, but pain never leaves. Every step hurts, every breath burns. And the memories Palpatine tried to erase begin to claw their way back on Kashyyyk. Vader receives an order that will change everything. A village is sheltering rebels. The command is simple: kill them all. As flames rise into the canopy, Vader marches through smoke and screaming. Then he sees a child, small hands gripping a broken toy, fear in wide, innocent eyes. For one heartbeat, Theren Malicos returns. He remembers what it meant to protect. The moment dies, a Wookiee mother attacks him. Vader cuts her down without hesitation. That night, alone aboard his Star Destroyer, he removes his helmet. He barely recognizes the face beneath it. "What have I become?" he whispers. He never reports the thought. During the final battle, Tarful confronts him. The duel is brutal. Strength against precision, rage against control. Sparks fly, trees shatter. The battlefield trembles, then Tarful faints. The vibroblade pierces Vader's chest. His respirator sputters. Pain explodes through him. For a brief moment, the dark side loosens its grip. Theren Malicos returns fully. He remembers being a Jedi. He remembers hope. He remembers who he was, and it breaks him with his last strength. Vader hurls Tarful away with the Force and strikes him. Down victory tastes like ash. Vader collapses. By the time Imperial medics reach him, his heart has already stopped. The first Vader is dead. Palpatine receives the news without emotion. "Prepare the armor," he says calmly. "Find another." Malicos's body is erased. Records destroyed. The galaxy is never told. Because Vader must never die. Not as long as fear is useful. Not as long as the Empire needs a monster. Now Palpatine begins the search for the second Vader. He reaches out through the dark side, scanning the galaxy for suitable candidates. He needs someone different this time. Someone faster, more aggressive. Someone who can compensate for Malicos's weaknesses. After weeks of searching, he finds her. Kira Vess, a former Sith assassin, trained by one of his agents in the Outer Rim. She is in her late 20s, a master of Form 7, a lightsaber style that emphasizes speed and ferocity. She has killed dozens of targets, from corrupt officials to rebel leaders, and she does so without hesitation or remorse. She is perfect. Palpatine's agents locate her on Nal Hutta, where she is completing a contract for the Hutts. They ambush her in a cantina, using stun grenades and restraints to subdue her. She fights viciously, killing 2 agents before they manage to bring her down. When she wakes, she is in chains aboard a transport bound for Coruscant. Palpatine meets her in the same chamber where Malicos was transformed. Kira Vess glares at him, her eyes filled with defiance. "You made a mistake, old man. I'll kill you the moment I get the chance." Palpatine smiles. "You will serve me, Kira Vess. You will become my weapon, my enforcer, my Vader." She spits at his feet. "I serve no one. We shall see." The conditioning process is brutal. Kira fights at every step of the way, resisting the Sith alchemy, clinging to her identity with fierce determination. But Palpatine is relentless. He pours dark side energy into her mind, breaking down her will, reshaping her thoughts. The physical transformation is even more severe than Malicos's. Her legs are amputated and replaced with cybernetic limbs, giving her enhanced speed and agility. Her arms are augmented with strength enhancers. Her vocal cords are altered to match the modulator. The process takes weeks, and Kira screams through every moment of it. But eventually she breaks. When she emerges from the chamber, she is no longer Kira Vess. She is Vader. This Vader is different, faster, more aggressive. She moves like a predator, her strikes lightning quick, her fighting style unpredictable. Palpatine deploys her too. The Mid-Rim, where a rebel cell has been causing significant disruptions. The rebels are expecting an Imperial assault. But they are not expecting Vader. She infiltrates their base alone. Moving through the shadows, her lightsaber silent until the moment she strikes. The rebels die before they realize what is happening. When the Imperial forces arrive, they find the base littered with bodies, every rebel executed with surgical precision. Vader stands at the center of the carnage, her breathing steady, her armor stained with blood. The legend of Vader grows stronger, but Kira Vess lasts only 2 years. On Ord Mantell, during a mission to eliminate a rebel general, she is caught. In an explosion, a rebel saboteur, detonates a series of thermal charges in the building where she is operating, and the entire structure collapses. Vader is buried beneath tons of rubble, her suit crushed, her body broken. By the time Imperial rescue teams dig her out, she is dead. Palpatine does not mourn. He simply selects the third candidate. The third Vader is Jock Theren, former Jedi Knight who was captured during the early days of the Purge. He has been held in a secret prison for years, subjected to torture and dark side conditioning in the hope that he might be turned. When Palpatine reviews his file, he sees potential. Jock is strong in the Force, skilled in combat, and already broken by years of captivity. The transformation is swift. Within weeks, Jock Theren becomes Vader, and he serves the Empire with cold efficiency. But the years of torture have left scars that the conditioning cannot erase. Jock begins to hear voices, whispers in the darkness that speak to him when he is alone. At first, he dismisses them as echoes of his past, remnants of the Jedi he used to be. But the voices grow louder, more insistent, until he can no longer ignore them. They tell him that he is not real, that he is a puppet, a shadow of something greater. He begins to see things that are not there, figures in the corners of his vision, ghosts that vanish when he turns to face them. His behavior becomes erratic. On a mission to hunt a Jedi survivor on Dantooine, he executes not only the target but also a dozen civilians who were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. His troops report that he seemed to be talking to himself, arguing with invisible enemies. On another mission, he stands motionless for hours. But the Empire's surveillance is everywhere. Within hours, alarms are triggered. Inquisitors are dispatched, led by the Grand Inquisitor himself, to hunt down the escaped operative. Dravik moves through the industrial district, using his knowledge of the Force to evade patrols, but the Inquisitors are relentless. They track him to an abandoned warehouse in the sublevels, a maze of rusted machinery and broken crates. Dravik knows he is trapped, but he refuses to surrender. He ignites a stolen lightsaber, a blue blade he took from a fallen Jedi, and prepares to make his final stand. The Inquisitors enter the warehouse, their red blades casting eerie shadows. The Grand Inquisitor steps forward, his expression cold and unreadable. Cannot escape, Dravik coughs. Surrender, and your death will be swift. I won't go back. I won't be his puppet anymore. Then you will die here. The Inquisitors attack as one, their lightsabers flashing in the darkness. Dravik fights desperately, using the Force to hurl debris, to create barriers to anything to slow them down. He is skilled, but they are many, and his body is weakened from the removal of the suit.
Ow.
One Inquisitor's blade cuts across his arm, severing tendons. Another strikes his leg, dropping him to one knee. Dravik lashes out with the Force, throwing two of them back. But the Grand Inquisitor advances, his double-bladed saber spinning in a lethal arc. The blade cuts through Dravik's defenses and pierces his chest. Dravik gasps, his eyes wide with shock and pain. He collapses to the ground, blood pooling beneath him. As his vision fades, he whispers, "I just wanted to be free." The Grand Inquisitor stands over him, his expression unreadable, and delivers the final blow. Dravik Koss dies in the shadows of Coruscant, another nameless body in the Empire's machine. His body is retrieved and disposed of. The fifth candidate is already being prepared. Each time a Vader dies, Palpatine refines the process. The conditioning becomes more sophisticated, the suits more advanced, the selection criteria more stringent. And each time the legend of Vader grows stronger. The galaxy sees the mask, hears the voice, feels the terror, and believes. Vader is immortal. Vader is unstoppable. Vader is everywhere. But the cracks are beginning to show. But not everyone is blind to the inconsistencies. The Grand Inquisitor, a former Jedi Temple guard, who turned to the dark side after witnessing the corruption of the Republic, has served Vader directly on multiple occasions. His name, before he took the title, was Proset Dibs, a guardian who believed the Jedi had lost their way. When the Empire arose, he saw it as an opportunity for order, for structure, for the discipline the galaxy desperately needed. He became the Emperor's enforcer, leading the Inquisitorius, hunting down surviving Jedi with ruthless efficiency. He is one of the few who has worked closely enough with Vader to notice the small discrepancies. At first, he dismisses them as irrelevant. Vader is the Emperor's weapon, and it is not his place to question. The Empire demands obedience, and he is sworn to serve, but the anomalies pile up, incident after incident, until they become impossible to ignore. The first inconsistency occurs on Onderon during a mission to eliminate a Jedi who has been organizing resistance cells. The Grand Inquisitor accompanies Vader, observing his methods, ensuring the mission proceeds according to plan. When they corner the Jedi in an abandoned fortress, Vader engages him in single combat. The Grand Inquisitor watches carefully, analyzing Vader's technique. He favors Form 5. Gem so brutal and aggressive, overwhelming his opponent with raw power. Each strike is designed to break through defenses, to crush resistance with sheer force. The Jedi falls within minutes, unable to withstand the relentless assault. The Grand Inquisitor notes the style, filing it away in his mind. Weeks later, they are deployed to Felucia, hunting another Jedi survivor. This time, when the battle begins, Vader's style has completely changed. He employs Form 2 Makashi, elegant and precise. A duelist's form that relies on economy of motion and perfect control. His footwork is measured, his strikes calculated, each movement flowing seamlessly into the next. The Grand Inquisitor's eyes narrow. He knows these forms intimately, taught them to temple guards, drilled them into Padawans, studied them for decades. No one switches between them so drastically, especially not between Form 5 and Form 2, which are fundamentally opposed in philosophy. Form 5 is about power and aggression. Form 2 is about finesse and control. A warrior might master both over a lifetime, but they do not alternate between them from mission to mission. It would be like rewriting one's entire combat instinct. The Grand Inquisitor says nothing, but he begins to watch more carefully. On the next mission, Vader uses Form 5 again. On the one after that, Form 3, Seresu, a purely defensive style. The inconsistency is glaring, impossible to miss once he starts paying attention. Then there is the matter of Vader's knowledge, or lack thereof. During a briefing for a mission to Jabium, Vader recounts the planet's history in meticulous detail. He speaks of the battles fought there during the Clone Wars, the betrayal of the local population, the Jedi who fell defending the Republic. He even mentions specific commanders, specific battles, details that only someone who fought there would know. The Grand Inquisitor is impressed. But 2 months later, during a hunt for a Jedi survivor on Christophsis, Vader seems to have no memory of the planet, despite the fact that major battles were fought there during the Clone Wars. The Grand Inquisitor mentions it casually. Testing. Christophsis was a significant engagement, was it not? The Republic fought fiercely to hold it. Vader's response is vague, dismissive. I do not concern myself with the past. Only the present mission matters. But the Grand Inquisitor knows the truth. Someone who fought in the Clone Wars would remember Christophsis. It was one of the key battles, a turning point in the Outer Rim campaigns. Vader's ignorance is suspicious. The anomalies continue to mount. On Ryloth, Vader forgets the name of a Jedi he supposedly killed 3 years ago, a High Council member, whose death was widely reported. On Lothal, he refers to a Padawan by the wrong name, then quickly corrects himself. On Geonosis, he seems unfamiliar with the layout of the droid factories, despite the fact that Vader was reportedly present during the first battle there. Each inconsistency is small, easily dismissed on its own. But together, they form a pattern. The Grand Inquisitor begins to pay closer attention to Vader's behavior, his mannerisms, the way he interacts with subordinates. On some missions, Vader is cold and calculating, speaking only when necessary, issuing orders with machine-like precision. On others, he is more aggressive, almost reckless, throwing himself into battle with a fury that borders on suicidal. Still others, he is introspective, pausing to meditate before missions, speaking in philosophical terms about the nature of power and order.
Oh.
These are not the fluctuations of mood. These are entirely different personalities. The Grand Inquisitor realizes something chilling. Vader is inconsistent because he is not one person. The thought is so staggering that he initially dismisses it as paranoia. But once the idea takes root, he cannot shake it. He begins to test Vader subtly, asking questions, probing for information. During a mission debrief, he mentions a detail from a previous operation, one that Vader should remember. Vader's response is hesitant, as if he is searching his memory for something that is not there. Another time, the Grand Inquisitor asks about Vader's training where he learned to wield the Force with such power. Vader's answer is vague, rehearsed. It's the kind of response someone gives when they are reciting information rather than recalling personal experience. The Grand Inquisitor decides to investigate further. It is dangerous, potentially lethal, but he needs to know the truth. He begins accessing classified files, using his rank and clearance to dig into Vader's records. At first, he finds nothing unusual. Mission reports, commendations, records of victories. But then, he notices something strange. The medical logs are too extensive. Vader has been injured dozens of times, requiring major repairs to the suit, organ replacements, cybernetic upgrades. The frequency is unusual, but not impossible. What is impossible is the nature of the injuries. On 3 separate occasions, the logs indicate that Vader's heart stopped, and he was clinically dead for several minutes before being revived. On another, he suffered catastrophic brain damage that should have resulted in permanent cognitive impairment. Yet each time, he returned to duty within weeks, functioning at full capacity. The Grand Inquisitor's suspicions deepen. He digs further, accessing files that require higher clearance, files that he should not be able to see. He uses a slicing program, a relic from his days as a temple guard, when he investigated corruption among the Senate. The program cracks through the encryption, and he finds what he is looking for. Death certificates. Not 1, not 2, but 5. Each one classified at the highest level, each one bearing the codename Vader. The names listed are different. Theren Malekos, Kira Vess, Jock Theren, Dravik Kos, and one more, a name he does not recognize. Each certificate lists a different cause of death. Malekos died from a punctured lung on Kashyyyk. Kira Vess was killed in an explosion on Ord Mantell. Jock Theren was executed for mental instability. Dravik Kos was killed by Inquisitors while attempting to escape. The 5th died of heart failure during a mission to Mustafar. Obi-Wan studies the hologram, his expression thoughtful. The Emperor will not be easily defeated. Even if we reach him, he is a master of the dark side. He will use every trick, every technique at his disposal. We must be prepared for anything. Kale speaks up, his voice quiet but firm. I know how he fights. I felt his power when he conditioned me. He relies on fear, on overwhelming his opponents with raw strength. But he's also arrogant. He believes no one can challenge him, that arrogance is his weakness. Leia nods. Then we exploit it. We use his confidence against him. Obi-Wan, you and Luke will confront him directly. Kale, Cassian, Jin, and I will secure the exits and ensure we have a way out. The team spends the next 2 weeks rehearsing the plan, running through simulations, practicing their cover stories. They memorize the names of Imperial officers, the protocols for security inspections, the procedures for accessing restricted areas. Every detail is drilled into them until it becomes second nature. On the final night before their departure, the team gathers one last time. The mood is somber, each of them aware of the risks. There is a good chance they will not return, but none of them hesitate. They have all lost too much to the Empire, and they are willing to sacrifice everything to see it fall. Obi-Wan addresses them, his voice calm and reassuring. We stand on the precipice of history. What we do in the coming days will determine the fate of the galaxy. But remember, we do not fight alone. Force is with us, and the hopes of billions rest on our shoulders. Do not falter, do not despair. And above all, do not give in to fear. Luke looks around at his companions, seeing the determination in their eyes. These are people who have suffered, who have lost loved ones, who have been broken by the Empire. But they have not given up. They continue to fight, to hope, to believe in a better future. And that, he realizes, is the true strength of the rebellion. Not their ships or their weapons, but their refusal to surrender. He thinks of his father, of Anakin Skywalker, the man who was consumed by fear and hatred. He thinks of Kale, the young Padawan, who was broken and remade into a weapon. He thinks of all the others, the countless lives destroyed by the Empire's cruelty, and he makes a silent vow: I will end this. I will honor their memory, and I will make sure no one else suffers as they did. The transport departs Yavin for under cover of darkness, its transponder codes altered to mimic an Imperial supply ship. The journey to Coruscant takes 3 days, and during that time, the team remains on high alert, monitoring Imperial comm channels, watching for patrols. Cassian pilots the ship, his hands steady on the controls, while Jyn keeps watch on the sensors. Luke and Kale meditate in the cargo hold, centering themselves, preparing for what lies ahead. Obi-Wan sits with Leia in the cockpit, discussing contingencies, backup plans, escape routes. Every possibility must be considered. As they approach Coruscant, the sight of the city planet fills them with a mixture of awe and dread. The planet is a sprawling metropolis, its surface covered entirely by towering skyscrapers, traffic lanes, and industrial complexes. At the center of it all, the Imperial Palace looms, a massive structure that dwarfs everything around it. Is a monument to Palpatine's power, a symbol of the Empire's dominance. Cassian transmits their credentials to Imperial traffic control, and after a tense moment, they are cleared to land. The transport descends through the traffic lanes, weaving between cargo haulers and patrol ships until it reaches a docking bay in the lower levels of the Palace District. They land without incident, and the ramp lowers. The team disembarks, dressed in Imperial uniforms, their movements confident and assured. They are officers of the Imperial Security Bureau, conducting a routine inspection. No one questions them. They make their way through the Palace District, passing checkpoints, presenting their credentials, moving deeper into the heart of the Empire. The palace itself is a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each one more opulent than the last. Marble floors, gilded walls, holographic displays showing the Emperor's speeches. It is a place designed to inspire awe and fear, to remind everyone who enters that they are in the presence of absolute power. They reach the Grand Hall without incident. The summit is already underway, dozens of Moffs and Imperial officers gathered. In the vast chamber, discussing strategy, debating policy, the team splits up, Leia, Cassian, and Jyn moving to secure the exits, while Luke, Obi-Wan, Kale make their way toward the throne room. The corridor leading to Palpatine's inner sanctum is guarded by red guards, their crimson armor gleaming in the dim light. Luke can feel the dark side emanating from the throne room, a palpable presence that presses down on him like a weight. Obi-Wan places a hand on his shoulder. Remember your training. Do not let fear control you. Trust in the Force. Luke nods, and they advance. The red guards step forward, their force pikes raised. Halt. State your business. Luke reaches out with the Force, his voice calm and commanding. We are here to see the Emperor. The guards hesitate, their minds clouded by the Force suggestion. Then slowly they step aside. The doors to the throne room open, and Luke, Obi-Wan, and Kale step inside. The chamber is vast, the ceiling lost in shadow. At the far end, seated on a throne of black stone, is Emperor Palpatine. His yellow eyes gleam with malevolence, and a cold smile crosses his face. Ah, Luke Skywalker. I have been expecting you. And you brought friends. How thoughtful. Luke ignites his lightsaber, the blue blade casting light across the dark chamber. This ends now, Palpatine. Your reign of terror is over. Palpatine laughs, a sound like grinding metal. You think you can defeat me? You're a child playing at being a hero? I have crushed far greater threats than you. Obi-Wan steps forward, his own lightsaber igniting. You underestimate us? As you underestimated the Jedi? That arrogance will be your downfall. Palpatine rises from his throne, his robes billowing around him. The air crackles with dark side energy, and the shadows seem to deepen, as if the very room is responding to his power. Then come. Show me what you have learned. Let us see if you are worthy of your father's legacy. Luke charges forward, his lightsaber raised, and the final battle begins. It's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.